Hello everyone, this is Eflex and welcome back to another A Producer's Approach video. In this video we're going to be looking at Televisor's song Pinup. So if you guys don't know how these videos are structured, in the beginning of the video I do like an intro and my own personal backstory section. Then after that I do a breakdown analysis section, and then after that I do more of an outro, just kind of summarizing my thoughts on the song that I'm analyzing. So let's get into the intro. So this song, Televisor song Pinup, for me, this was one of my favorite songs when I first discovered Monstercat. So again, I remember when this song came out because I think a couple months prior, within 2012, I've discovered Monstercat through a friend. When I was doing sports back in high school, a teammate of mine showed me Monstercat, and once I've looked up Monstercat, I was in love ever since. But it's really funny. So Pinup actually came out on the very well-known and well-respected album on Monstercat, the 007 album. That's a highly regarded album on Monstercat for a lot of the old nostalgic songs. I mean, there are a ton of big releases on the 007 album. I mean, just to name a few is like Disconnected by Pegboard Nerds, The Next Big Thing by Throttle, Dance to It by Tut Tut Child, and just, Reasons by Project 46, Time Bomb by Faint, and just a bunch of other, big, community favorite songs. But what I didn't know for the longest time until recently is that a lot of people did not like this song on the 007 album, which is weird because this was one of the best songs in my opinion when I heard this song originally on Monstercat at the time. I'd been listening to Monstercat so long that they've even changed this section of the video. When this song came out, electronic music and new disco wasn't even a category, or wasn't even like a subgenre yet. So they actually just called this EDM. They didn't even call it new disco. I know they eventually changed it when they made a new disco category, but for the longest time when I was first listening to it in the early days of Monstercat, this was just known as EDM. So new disco to me, like, I just called it EDM for, a really long time until it was classified as new disco. But for me, like, Pinup definitely has a special place in my heart. Every time I listen to this song, I want to dance and sing along with the vocals. But, I used to listen to this song a lot when I was in high school. I don't know, just in between breaks, in between lunch, whenever I had like earbuds and an opportunity to listen. Like, this was one of the like 12 Monstercat songs I listened to. And back in the day, I didn't have as much money in high school, so I kind of then iPods and iTouches were kind of the thing, but you didn't have internet per se in class. Like, smartphones were just starting to become like a thing people were using, so I had to YouTube to MP3 this song, and this was one of the few songs on Monstercat. As I said, like maybe like 12 songs I YouTube to MP3 and uploaded onto my iPod way back in 2012. So I had this song on loop amongst, Dance to It by Tut Tut Child and some of the other electro songs like Matt Duke's Disco Dancer and Resonate's Pump It, and a couple other songs. But this definitely was one of those songs I had on repeat. So when I listen to this song now, it just kind of reminds me of that time when I first discovered this song and was listening to the song a lot more often. So this is Televisor song Pinup, and we are now going into the breakdown. So I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, that intro always gets me. So it sounds like there's volume automation and filtering in this intro, but it's just like the kick pretty much playing, like the whole beat is pretty much playing. Like, you have like the synths playing and like the kind of funky guitar kind of playing, like the kind of disco-ish feeling, and you get that like right off the bat. It's just, volume lowered and like maybe filtered with a filter, like a low pass filter, and then it just slowly introduces and then has a dun dun, and then has kind of a transition sound. But every time for me I hear that intro, I know it's Pinup. Like I just know right off the bat. It just kind of starts like that. So definitely love that intro. All right, so I mean, this song just gets kicking straight out the gate. Like you kind of hear the vocals come in, you hear the rhythm, actually a more traditional 4/4 rhythm. You kind of have the new disco-ish kind of vocals playing like an old disco song, and then you kind of have that kind of funky-ish type bass sound. It's not exactly a bass guitar, but it sounds pretty similar to a bass guitar. And with Televisor, there are a lot of like, guitar sounding leads, like kind of new disco-y, kind of synth-wavy guitar sounding leads in the song. So it's kind of nice, as you're going to hear. There's a lot of calm response between like the vocals and the kind of guitar lead response. I don't know. I want to say the vocals were recorded by the artists themselves, but I'm not exactly sure myself. So we'll keep going. But I mean, personally for me, I love the genre of new disco. So this is definitely one of those songs like I always love to listen to. So we'll get back into the breakdown now. All right, so you guys pretty much noticed that calm response between the vocals and that guitar lead. It's really cool. I like how they trade off with a calm response, and you notice kind of on the bottom too that the guitar plucks aren't like, those typical plucks you hear. This sounds like something you'd hear in like a 80s kind of disco song. So this is definitely like a really cool song, and there's like different, percussion transitions with some toms in between, and then here you kind of now hear more of a traditional electronic sound with kind of like saw waves playing. It sounds like just kind of saw pads playing in the background with the vocals. But man, you can already tell like that funky groove, like you just want to dance right now. So let's keep going. So I really like this section right here. I'll just backpedal a little bit. So you guys notice that the vocals do change. It's not like the same vocal hook being played over and over and over again. Like the vocals do change, and it's like different lines and vocal phrases. So that's really cool. It's the rhythm hasn't changed too much, but it's like kick, snare, and a lot of hi-hats, and then the bass on the bottom is like moving a lot. So the structure of the bass sounds like someone's playing a bass guitar. But in this section right here, it almost sounds like they're harmonizing where the vocal is playing, and then there's kind of like an alternate kind of vocal. They're almost like duetting in a sense, but it's also a little bit like a calm response at the same time. But it's just like two vocals kind of playing at the same time. It's like, need you, I want you, and then like the main vocal phrase is playing. So it's almost like a duet and calm response of both vocals playing at the same time, which is really cool. So we'll get back into the song now. All right, this section is really cool. Reminds me a lot of like Complextro, kind of with a lot of glitching. And there's just more focus on the bass and kind of those kind of glitching vocal, almost choppish sounds. But it's kind of like a breakdown section. This is kind of the song's version of a break. There really is no kind of traditional build up and break section in the song. It kind of just keeps flowing, but this is kind of like the kind of bass kind of grind grooving sound where there's like, not really prominent vocals or guitar lead sound, but it's kind of building up to the guitar lead section. So definitely really cool. Reminds me a lot of the Complextro style, and I really like the use of this section in the song because it doesn't really cut out. Like the flow just keeps going, the rhythm just keeps going, just kind of changes up to focus more on the bass guitar and the kind of vocal choppy glitching. So definitely a really cool section. We'll get back to the song now. Alright, so you hear in this section the vocals kind of playing along with the vocal kind of choppy bits and the bass guitar playing. So it's kind of a nice pairing, kind of reintroducing the vocal back in with that section playing, and then now you kind of hear the guitar playing to lead into the guitar solo section. So overall that section is really nice. It kind of has like a kind of bass kind of grind and like a break in between, but keeps the flow, and then kind of reintroduces the vocal and now introduces the guitar sound right before the guitar solo section. So let's listen to that. Alright, so in this section is pretty cool. Basically, you have the guitar lead playing, and then there's actually kind of I almost want to say like vocal chops in the background of the sound, and then after that the chord progression, I almost want to say the saw synth sounds kind of come in. So that's pretty cool. They kind of accent kind of within this guitar lead, and I don't know, they actually introduce, I don't know, like almost like a different chord progression or something like that, but definitely really cool to add those sounds in the background and to have an added extra flow. So definitely cool. We'll get back to the song. Alright, so just backpedaling a little bit. So towards the end of I guess that drop section, the guitar solo plays, and then it almost sounds like a change in the chord progression, and you kind of hear like the reverb and the delay in the guitar solo, and honestly that's like the longest guitar solo lead I've heard in many new disco songs. And after that, the song outros, and then it kind of has that kind of like a reverse sound, like ship sound also playing in the outro. So it's a really interesting outro, but you notice that the outro doesn't fade out or filter, kind of like the beginning of the part of the song did. So it's just really interesting to note. It just kind of plays out like normal, no volume automation, no filtering or anything, just plays out like normal. So overall, that is Pinup by Televisor, one of the funkiest songs I know. I mean, the and like before the end of the drop, like you hear like the kind of bass guitar almost playing along with the guitar lead, just the funkiness of the song and the flow of the song, and the structure is so different. There's not really like a definitive build up section and break section where, you know, the percussion stops. Like the percussion just starts and then just keeps on going and just transitions right off the bat with some, you know, transitionary percussion, but then just keeps going and going and going, from vocals transitioning to guitar leads, transitioning to, you know, kind of a funky bit, and then bring in the vocals, and then going into like the longest guitar solo I've heard in a new disco song. So overall, that's Pinup. Definitely a song that has a special place in my heart, and I just love the song. I love new disco. This made me love new disco. I mean, I grew up listening to disco music, so this to me was so familiar, but kind of like a newer version of it. So overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like or dislike the video, just leave a comment down below, and feel free to check out Televisor's other songs. They have so many other songs that are so good. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and have a good one. Peace.